welcome everyone to our BITSAA Chennai's The Next Big Thing. So this is an initiative where we wanted to invite speakers, our own Bitsians, who are coming out with some very interesting business ventures. And the last five editions or the five series, we've had some very interesting people all across India. And this instance, we have with us SuperK, and Neeraj is a person whom we have called about. And before we get going, I would like to invite Murugavel to do uh, a brief, probably an intro about Neeraj, and then we'll leave the floor to Neeraj to get going. Murugavel, would you want to go ahead and share a few words about Neeraj, and we'll get going with our session.
Sure, Vignesh. Thanks for opportunity once again introducing Neeraj. First, we should say Neeraj is a serial entrepreneur. So I think he already co-founded another organization. Now it might be his second. We are looking for many more companies for him to get it co-founded and given opportunities serving the people of the country. Let me go ahead with a simple introduction of him. Neeraj prior experience with as a product manager in Bitly, and he is the first product manager out of India office, and he has worked with the customers across Australia, New Zealand, and Europe, and is a great Flipkart. He is also an associate product manager and software development engineer. So, from a great expertise, Neeraj was here to have a great shopping experience for us in this special Valentine's Day. Welcome, Neeraj. Hope you will offer some Valentine gift to all our Bitsians today who are listening to this webinar. We welcome
Thanks,
you all once
Murugan.
again on behalf of BITSAA Chennai.
No, thanks for the kind words, and I think it's an honor to be speaking, and I don't know if I have enough to share for so many people who have come taking their weekends out and listening to me talk. So hope everyone can be taking something back, and we can all help each other in some ways. So let me get started. I'll just give a quick introduction about myself, and then I'll talk more about what we are building, and then we can because we have a very close knit audience here, we can happily go into questions, and it can be a free flowing conversation after like a 15-20 minute introduction about what we are doing. So let me get started. Right? So I went to the Pilani campus from 2008 to 12. Uh, was part of many of the activities, clubs, and departments. But all of that, it was a great journey. And out of campus, I joined a startup, and it was again I quickly switched to working with Flipkart. So Flipkart was like my first big place of work, and I joined the team when we were just launching the marketplace. Flipkart was in the stages of transforming from a marketplace to a retail company, and I was one of the first very early members, and I saw the whole growth from like the first seller to the 1 lakh seller mark. It was the most important journey of my career, where I kind of got all the inspiration. I would say that everyone around me was thinking very big, talking very big, and I realized that it was possible for a person from a simple background like ours to think and be able to do such big things, right? So it was one of the places where we got a lot of inspiration. I personally got inspired, and I spent about 2.5 years at Flipkart in tech roles, and then a product role, and then I came out to start this company called Hungerbox. We started it out as a meal delivery marketplace. So the focus was small companies where there were no cafeterias. The employees still got to eat, right? So we were trying to arrange for them home style meals, which were packed by some home chefs, some caterers, whoever was cooking simple daily meals that would be delivered to their offices. We started doing that. It was, going on well, but then there were like a lot of people who started coming in. Everyone gave discounts, and the cost of like our delivery, the price of a meal was 60 rupees, and the cost of delivery was 40 rupees. No, so there is just no way to make that unit economics at that kind of business work. So we pivoted the business. Again, the whole journey is about figuring what is a good business model. Most of the startups don't start with a good business model themselves. They figure out on the way. So, we then moved to a cafeteria management service kind of model, because, we were working with small companies. They had problems of managing caterers. We were working with caterers. They wanted to, get connected. So we kind of became a marketplace connecting these two. And we were like, till the time I was with the company, we focused and built a business with taking small and medium-sized companies, which were we were working serving the cafeterias of almost 50 companies by the time we merged the company with another startup which was doing something similar, and we were doing about 5,000 meals a day. And from there, it went to a very great trajectory. So we started getting large corporates, and at the moment, right, at least before pandemic, that company was Hungerbox was managing the cafeterias of almost all the large IT services and large corporates of India. So they were doing almost 5 lakh meals a day kind of volume. So, and imagine TCS, Infosys, Accenture, Microsoft. So all of these cafeterias were kind of maintained by Hungerbox. They were being the marketplace between the people who operate the food courts versus and the customers who were eating from them. So played a small part in the founding of that company. Even that's that was a great experience. Realized that there are things things don't go well all the time, but you need to stick out for the long time. That's when the results will come. Just you see a local minima, that doesn't mean anything. There is again keeps on growing. You can keep on if you stick around for a good amount of time. So after Hungerbox, I spent my time with a couple of other startups. One of them was Bijli, one of them was Zeta, which is part of DirectEye. But again, small stints, and then again, it was always there on the back of my mind to come back and start something. So I started looking for a good problem statement, and 2019 I started traveling to the small towns, right? So I hail from this place called Kadapa in Andhra Pradesh. I'm not sure how many of you guys kind of know the place, but it is like a tier 3, tier 4 town where with a population about 4 to 5 lakhs. It's a district headquarters, a small town, a decent town. So I visited these places around, and I met with my family, and my maternal family has been into the business circles. They were running their wholesale kirana businesses and all. So they were doing this for last 30, 40 years. And my partner, who's also from who finished college with me, Anil, he was a 7 to 12 Pilani pass out. His family was again in a similar business. We used to bounce off ideas, what's happening, what can happen, and he was based out of Malaysia at that point of time. And I had also spent some time traveling Southeast Asia. Well, we had some very interesting observations, right? One thing is, if any one of you have been outside India and to Southeast Asia, you'll know that there are branded convenience retail stores like 7-Eleven or Circle K. So these are the kind of companies where you go to any of these towns. It could be Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Malaysia. You can just go and figure out a convenience retail store. You can trust, because it's the same brand everywhere in the country. You pick up what you want to pick up, and you pay a standard price. You don't need to worry that am I paying the right amount or not, and you walk out with a good experience. We realize that we have a lot of stores in the country. There is a huge density of kirana stores in the country, but there's not that kind of trust where you can just go and say, I'll take a product. Will I be priced well? Like, even if MRP is there, still there is a fair bit of trust deficit between the community, the stores and the customer, the store and the wholesaler. The whole supply chain is built with very low trust, right? So we saw that there are problems, and then on the other side, right? So one side the customer is evolving and the business is not changing. The customer experience is not evolving as fast, and the retailers are very afraid. So one thing which we observed is that the retailers are also not very optimistic about their future, because they think that all the large retail chains will come and capture the market. So there is no point for them to improve or do anything. So the whole ecosystem is kind of, we feel that it is ripe for change, because there are a lot of things which happened over the last 3-4 years. It could be huge internet penetration, GST which got enacted, the customer's mindset is changing. So there is a, like, we kind of felt that there's an inflection point where from here in the next 10 years, all the small individual businesses will get organized. So how will they get organized is a question which we have been asking, and we think SuperK is one answer which will help move the market from unorganized to organized. And I keep using this term. I can explain it more detail, but the idea is to say that today the business is operated by an individual who operates by their own set of rules, and they give the customer experience as per their definition of customer experience. No, but if I can give a standardized customer experience, standardized quality, standardized pricing, so that is when I would call it as organized, and all of this under a single brand would make it a branded convenience retail store. So we started thinking about the problem statement that let's take the small stores, bring them together, and make them strong so that they can withstand any large retail chain coming in. They can withstand. At the same time, for the customer, the experience will improve. For the wholesalers or for the companies, now they have to interact with so many people. They have to go to hundreds of stores and convince them to take a product or promote something. We can be an aggregator or like a central point for everyone to communicate, and we create the brand for everyone. So that's kind of how we thought. And there were many parallels even outside India and even in India, right? So if you look at medical stores, for example, so they were all individual stores now, but of late you will see brands like Apollo Pharmacy or MedPlus. They have got huge penetration, and the customer experience is far better, and their company relationships are better. The experience for the guy who's operating the store is better, because the stockouts are less. He has the product most of the time. The stores are well arranged, right? So kind of we saw that all the markets are moving from organized to unorganized. Again, you don't get the whole market organized immediately, but even if you can organize a few percent points of the market, that itself is a huge opportunity for all the parties involved. So that's kind of what was driving us, and trying to figure out how to play this game. And we started off 2019 late by taking the first store. So if you're trying to create a brand, the first big problem is whoever you go to and say I'll help you improve your business, they'll ask you, where is your business first, right? So we need to start with something before telling others that you can take my brand, right? So we went to buy out a store and start operating it ourselves, and then we wanted to run the franchisee. But fortunately, the first store where we went to buy out, over the few weeks where we were going through the conversation, that person agreed to become our first franchisee. So we started in 2019 December, and over this 1 year, 2 months now, we have established about 11 stores. So a little more than that, we relocated a few of them. So all of these stores operate in and around this town of Kadapa. So in the town of Kadapa, there are 8 stores, and then in the nearby 40-50 kilometers radius, there are about 3 more stores. So and over this time, there are a few things which we did. One is identify the business model, the incentive structure, right? What works for the retailer, what works for the suppliers, what makes sense, like what kind of benefits do you give the customer to make them happy, right? So it's a balancing act, right? You can't give a lot of discount to the customer, because the franchisee will not have anything. You cannot give everything to these two guys, because you won't get the supply at that price. And if you want to keep everyone happy, then you just cannot keep burning money, right? So identifying the balance is the hardest problem here. That's part of what someone would call it as a identifying a product market fit, right? How do you identify the business model? And that's kind of been our journey for the last 1 year, 3 months, or 1 year, 4 months. We spent a lot of time identifying and doing research on the model to kind of validate that if this can be solved, it's a huge a problem and a huge market. And once we were convinced that this makes sense as a business, then identifying, what ratio in which you split the margins, how do you create the incentives, how do you get the idea, right? So identifying this. So we are today at a stage where we have figured out how do you get a store, how do you convert it. It could be a new store, it could be old store. What kind of people are more suitable or more possible to be successful in this model, and what kind of marketing to do, how do you launch a store, how do you buy the stocks, so all the steps from 0 to 1, how do you take a store. I think we have kind of learned that, and now we are trying to go from saying that now we want to quickly scale. So we have all the ingredients. Now we need to start scaling up. So that's kind of where we are, and we our target to be at about 70 to 80 stores by end of this year. So if we can do that, that'll be like a great outcome for all of us, because that's when the benefits of scale will start kicking in, and whatever we do will start falling into place, right? So the margins will become better, the brand will become better, the whole ecosystem starts getting developed, like a chicken and egg problem in the start, right? So if you have more stores, you will have more leverage, but if you want to have stores, you need to have leverage. Create slowly, and I think we are at a place now where we can push the pedal and kind of go faster. So that's kind of been the journey so far. I can take you guys into the more detailed parts of a business, but I'll take a small pause and see if anyone wants to kind of share something or ask something.
Yeah, I have a question, Neeraj. So it's very interesting that you said about people telling you, uh, you show your store and tell us, because people generally say, "How is it you're doing?" Right? So can you tell us more about that first store? So and it's very interesting that you've been able to make that franchisee in the first place itself, because normally creating franchisees are tough, and putting a money into it, when the money question comes in, people try to start seeing value. How does I mean, what is the value a person is going to get? It's a very tough equation, right? So what is your thought on it? I mean, especially I know you've been quite lucky to get the first as a franchisee itself. So can you explain to us more on how did that first store happen? Probably taking us back to those, with some interesting journey pieces there.
Yeah. So I think, see, the first store is kind of the hardest, right? So because you have nothing to show for, right? You're saying that all I know is I have read a few papers, I have met a few stores, and then you go and tell your store is not doing well. I'll help you do better. And this is a guy who operated the store for last 6 years, right? And he's like, what you I don't think you guys even understand what you're talking about, but sure. What do you want to do, right? So when we told that person, right, this is Mr. Rami Reddy. So we were trying to talk to him and say, we are trying, we gave up hope that we could have a franchisee first. So we were trying to buy out the store, like it was an old store which was being operated for last 6 years, and we were trying to buy out. So the first thing was, we negotiated the price, and we were buying the furniture and the stock. And through the process of that happening, we kind of realized that this was a person who was not able to successfully make the store big, because if you are doing the business very successfully, you would not want to partner with someone else at the stage where we were, right? It's not the kind of time when we could attract the best store of the town. We can only attract the worst performing store. You got to go with the person who needs help the most, right? So we kind of figured out that this is a person who understands the market, who has worked hard, but for a few reasons he could not make it big. Now we were able to gain his trust. He was able, like the first thing is make it happen whichever way, right? So we tried to create a business proposition by talking to him in a manner that we gave him a promise that for the next 3 to 6 months, no matter what happens, he will make some money, right? It could be a success, it could be a failure, and for him it was nothing to lose. He was anyway exiting the store. So we gave him a proposition which said, don't exit for another 3 to 6 months. And in this meantime, you'll make money. If you don't make money, you always can go back, right? You anyway were going out. So do this for us. And, in the first 3 months, right? So we started in November, like till November, he was running. From December, we started running. So his average sales were between 3.5 to 4 lakhs a month. And by March, we were able to move this to excess of 10 lakhs a month. So, we were able to demonstrate that kind of growth. Again, a lot of it was, inorganic, and, we were trying to do a lot of things, right? Bringing discounts, doing marketing, negotiating better prices, but you cannot have all of it from the start, right? You need to put something. And, the only things which we could put for us at that point of time is our energies and a little bit of money which we had put together, and saying that we'll make this store successful, right? Either it could be marketing, discounts, or any of the you need to do whatever you need to do to get there, right? So once that store started doing, that store, the way it was, it's a very nice store, but every day evening, from 6 or 7, there would be 5 people sitting reading newspaper and chatting, right? And that's a supermarket which sees maximum traffic in the evening, and we were seeing that people are just chatting, right? Within 2 to 3 months, uh, there were people standing near the counter, right? They were standing in lines because they just couldn't come and take and go. So there was a sea change. There was a drastic change in how the store performed. And from there, again, I think even COVID helped us a little bit, but we were able to push the pedal. And the first building a momentum is very, very hard, but once you are able to, by whichever way, hook or crook, you build some momentum, and then things start happening, right? But while you're building momentum, you also have to be careful about the direction in which you are building the momentum, but I think that was how we made an offer to him which he couldn't refuse in a way. Today I wouldn't do that. The incentives which I gave to anyone, it's nowhere near what we gave to him. We gave him like complete protection of his capital and all of the things. Even then, it was very hard to convince, because he's like, I've heard so many people who come and say these things and then they disappear, right? So you guys are coming from somewhere I don't even know. You may suddenly disappear. But there was a lot of persistence. Almost, I think we negotiated for 3 weeks. We would go every day and sit in a store and say, uncle, why don't you do it with us, right? So that is how we went. And then because belonging from the same town, I could gather some people who he knew, and then they said, we know this guy, you can trust. And that's how we had to get started with the first store. And after the first store, the next 2 or 3 stores, again, through friends and family, you need to push something which you have earned before, right? It could be your name, brand, your capital, your money, your social capital. We put everything onto the line, saying that you just have to trust us, right? So the first 2, 3 stores happened like that. And once people started seeing the store, right, all our next stores came from our customers. Someone who comes to the store and they see that, wow, this is nice. I get a printed bill for all my purchases. That is new for that town. When they said, how are you giving this printed bill? And how is the pricing so well? How is the quality so good? And it's an organized place where, again, you're saying that the habit for people is, stand here and tell me what you want, I'll bring and give you. But when he said, welcome, please come in and take, right? So they were surprised, right? And then they asked, then they asked the guy who's operating, saying that, no, man, I know you from like 5 years or 8 years. How are you able to do all of this? Suddenly there is a change, right? So then they tell that, this is a brand where, there is a group of guys who are doing this. And then they come and meet us saying that, we are interested, we want to know more, right? So that's how we slowly built. And it was a very hard sell even then, right? I think I would meet people almost, 7 to 8 times or 10 times before they kind of make up their mind. And even then it would be like almost very doubtful. In the many of the first stores, we'd say, even if before they bring capital, we will start setting up things so that they don't fear, right? So you need to put the first steps towards them before you expect them to walk towards you, right? So we did that, and today we are at a place where I have like closed many stores agreements by just I just signed, right? So my team spoke to them, and some of them they figure out everything. They come and say, okay, I want to do this. I've already figured out what it is. You just come see my place and sign the agreement, right? That's from where to where, right? Every bit was negotiated with me, and now we are saying, okay, I know it is working. I know I want to associate with you guys. Tell me your terms and conditions and I'll sign, right? So that is the kind of place from where to where. Again, I don't think we are yet a huge brand, but we are at a place where definitely people are recognizing us and coming. I think Kailash sir wants to ask something.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Firstly, congratulations to you on your venture. It is really encouraging to note that you are reaching B towns, and that too
Right.
quite tier 2 and tier 3. That sounds interesting.
Right.
My
Thank you.
question is that these the way you brand these stores, there is a capital investment which will be going to these places, because there has to
Right.
be a specific design, there has to be a definite structure, there'll be costing
Right.
towards billing apparatus and all this stuff. So
Right.
one is
Right.
that how that small town operators will be covering for this cost. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, there is another problem in local kirana stores or local stores, is that a lot of people have a credit supplies, credit buying, because they keep a note of whosoever is buying, and they settle it at the end of the month. So how do you change this habit of people, because these two are most important things from local stores?
Fair enough. Let me actually also show you some pictures, right? So to show how our stores look, and are you guys able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a moment. Yes. So our stores all, they have a consistent branding. They are in the middle of the residential neighborhoods, right? We don't believe in putting these into the main markets. And again, we did some main market stores, they failed. The cost structure doesn't work out, and the residential stores have done very well. And, the kind of, they are all co-branded. They look very similar. Anyone can recognize the brand. And then, this was our first store actually. This is the store where we started, where we used to go every day and convince him. And these are the way the stores look, right? So they are all organized self-service stores, and this is how our billing system works, right? So we spent a lot of time identifying a billing system which would not intimidate a simple person, right? So the person who is billing, is probably not even 10th pass, but he's able to operate that. But if the same point of sale system was on a desktop computer, he would have given up the first day itself, because it is intimidating for them. But for them, they know that I use a mobile phone, it looks very much like mobile, now I can use it. That's kind of made a lot of difference, the form factor and the simplicity of the software which is used there, right? And then all digital payment modes, giving a printed bill. Again, this is very important. I can share many instances of why this bill is important, but it's very important. And then do marketing and advertisement, create the kind of things which these guys cannot do themselves. We do it, right? Run offers, combos, marketing, and again, one more thing is we have built an auto replenishment system. What happens is this person, he keeps billing the products and selling on a daily basis, and on the next day or the next to next day, all the things which he has sold gets automatically replenished to his store. So it's like almost like magic for him. He doesn't need to call people. He doesn't need to go to the market, buy it on a bag, put it on his TVS Excel, bring and do. So that was his previous life. Now today he just sits, he gets the product, he looks at everything and says, okay, done, received, and then he stocks it up, and then again he starts selling, right? So that is kind of what we kind of built. And again, some of the parts, right? How we try to bring the best of small kirana stores and the large retail chains. We brought both stuff, right? Like the local relationships, because this person is from the colony, you get the warmth of relationship from the kirana store, but the organized way of selling from the large retail, bring the best of both worlds in some way. right? So again, the retailer gets a ton of things, right? Loyalty programs, discount, publicity, all of this results in higher sales. And then we negotiate better with the brands because of our scale, and build systems and processes to like retailers making a lot of money, right? Some of the retailers which we are talking about, they would probably were making about 10 to 15,000 a month after all expenses. Today, many of them take home more than 50,000 rupees a month. That's uh, a very good income for someone operating out of a small town. That income difference is what powers and has created the kind of interest in everyone, where they're some people even tried to bribe our sales manager, that you have to give me the franchise in this particular area. So that's the uh, idea which tells us that the model is successful for people, right? So anyways, so I'll get back to the questions which Kailash was asking, right? So first, I think the first question is, how do you convince, or how do these people put up the money to make the store better, right? There are two things, right? One thing is, if it is an existing store, it has a fair bit of infrastructure, and the money which is required to convert the store is not too high. But even in the normal case, if someone is starting a store afresh, the kind of money which we need them to bring when they start is between 8 lakhs to 10 lakh rupees, right? And all of this investment is protected by us. What we mean by protected is, when we started off, we said, you bring this much money, I'll ensure that you walk back without a loss in case it doesn't work out, because one thing is, it's all commodity stock, and if I cannot sell in that store, I'll sell it in another store. I don't have problem. I'll take it back. And the other part is the furniture, right? The furniture is the main thing. So that costs about 2 to 2.5 lakhs. So, together in about 8 to 10 lakh rupees, this person can have a store of about 500 to 800 square feet, completely furnished, full of stock and everything. And, a lot of people think that 10 lakh rupees is a lot of investment for someone in a small town, but I don't think that is the case. If you look at houses, right? Everyone has a house, everyone has some property, right? And they, to build a house, it is almost 30, 40, 50 lakhs. There are people investing that much into a house where they live, right? If it is about business, there are a lot of people who just don't want to invest because it is risky, but all of them have. They're buying real estate, they're investing into businesses, they're doing a lot of things. There's tons of money. In fact, there is like a lot more money than we can accept, right? There are many people who came and said, I will take 10 stores, I'll give you 1 crore, right? So, that's not how we operate, but, there is a lot of money. And again, I don't mean to say that everyone can set up the store, but, a lot of middle class can afford to set up a store. And we are also helping them get bank loans. There is a Mudra loan, Mudra Yojana by government, where we are helping people to get some loans for about 4 to 5 lakh rupees. If they can bring 2 to 3 lakhs of their savings, that's enough. Or, we can help them with gold loans. They're doing a lot of things. But, so far, investing into the store has not been the biggest problem. It's about people. They need to be convinced. They need to get convinced that it's a place where they can invest and it's worth investing, right? So, that is the problem which we identify. Kailash sir, I forgot your second question. Can you come back?
So it is regarding the repeat buying, and there is a credit thing which is on a monthly
Okay.
basis they pay.
Sure. One more very interesting thing which we learned, which is like relevant for South India, right? I'm not sure how someone in Jaipur would react to this, but in South India, the observation which we had from everyone who gives credit to their customers, if you ask who do you give credit to, right? So typically it is not the poor person who gets credit, right? If you ask him, would you give it to a daily wage earner, right? They would say, no, I will not give credit to a daily wage earner, right? And do you say, like, would you give credit to a person who, doesn't own a house, or is, is in a not so great economic condition? They don't give credit to that person, but they usually give credit to people who are employed, who have a consistent income, because, they have more trust. Yeah, this guy gets his salary at the month end, he'll come and give it. It's almost like a credit card, right? The credit card guys also give credit card only to people who don't really need it, but because they want it and they can give it to, they give it to them. So even in this case, the credit is more of a function of making the transaction simpler and increasing loyalty, but the need is not there, right? This same guy, if there is a DMart in the town and he's getting products at a lower price, he would happily go running and buy it, right? But because he can get credit, the customer, he asks for credit. But and many of these people keep continuing giving credit because they're like, no, I don't have a way to reject it. I don't have a way to say no, right? I can say no and still the guy will come to me, but because of the relationship, I'm continuing. So the first store, right, when we went, so this store owner, he had an outstanding credit of about 80,000 rupees, which gets rotated every month, right? People come, take products and go. And once he converted to our system, I think he lost about 30-40% of that business. But the overall business grew very, very much, right? Because he doesn't have to worry about how much capital is going out and all of that. So we stopped credit, and he clearly tells them that because I'm operating it with a company, I need to pay back the money to those guys, so I cannot offer you. People understand. The only problem is because you have built a habit of giving credit. They're in the habit. But yeah, you will lose some business, but in the interest of gaining a much larger pie, it's okay to not worry about giving the credit. So that's one of the things. If a DMart can be successful with the middle class customers where they don't give any credit, right? So then we can be as well. It's just a bad habit which has been built for most of the cases, because they don't give it to the poor who cannot afford, but it is to the person who's just not disciplined enough to make savings and put it out. 1 month you tell him no credit, then he'll understand and he'll change his behavior. So that's as simple as that. That's kind of our observation. It might be a little bit, it might not cover all the cases, but most of the cases are like this.
It's a very interesting take there, Neeraj. I think that's a very, very interesting point. In fact, I see limitless possibilities for you guys. In fact, during my journey in Boonbox, where I had been traveling across East and West Godavari, I see that a lot of people who've been running the retail stores for ages, they have seen that the next generation somewhere they are kind of stepping out and moving to different other businesses. So I think there are a lot of possibilities where these people will want to explore this particular option, where you say that you make this as simple as possible, so that business can run in a very streamlined manner. Because generally speaking, I see that the newer generation somewhere are stepping out of from their family business. And I've had some very hearty conversations with people, and they're saying that, yeah, I would have really loved that my son or my family continues this business, but I do not see that happening for the next a few years, maybe once I'm off. So yeah, I think this is a very interesting way, and I'm sure a lot of people would definitely want to look at this as a possibility where business can run as usual without too much hassle.
Right. And one reason why, just to add to your point, right, it's very relevant, right? A lot of people, they're seeing that their family doesn't want to run the kids next who don't want to run that business. One of the very big reason is because it is so dirty to operate, right? There is, you need to deal with so many people, and most of them are not operating professionally. The next generation doesn't want to deal with haggling on a daily basis. They don't want to work in a manner where you cannot trust anyone. You just have to be always cutting corners and doing that kind of stuff, right? The next generation is not ready for it. But once we organize the business, the next generation would be super happy to take it, right? Because it is all structured. You take it and you do what you need to do. It's not like that his father had to go to 10 places, figure out what are the good quality, buy and bring, and even then you don't know what happens if it doesn't work, right? So even the family doesn't want the kids to take risks. The kids don't want to take the headache. So once you bring a structure to this, it becomes palatable for a lot of people, right? And I can tell you stories of the kind of people who have given up what they were doing to come and join and take up stores, right? So these are not the kind of people who you would expect them to run stores. Many of them were in a job or were doing something else, and but they got into business. Many of them lost all their money running some other business, and their family was not willing to support because they were not sure if this guy can run a business. But when they heard that this is in a framework, this is in a structure, they came and invested, saying that we want our kid to operate and run this business, but we were not sure if he can do it himself. And then there was one more case where the family had a lot of money, but they were not doing any proper business, and they wanted to get their son married, and now their people are asking, what does he do? He's like, we have a lot of money is not an answer. So they wanted him to have a business, but they were like, any business will not give the identity. He can't be running a kirana store, right? But when you have a branded store, then suddenly he's like, no, he's the owner of a reputed supermarket. Now then the status increases, right? There are people who come for the status itself, right? The identity is a problem. Identity is a huge problem in the small towns, right? You and I don't face it because we have gone to a good college. Everyone looks at up saying that this is a great guy, right? But that guy doesn't have anything to prove for his life, right? His identity comes from what he does, and most of it is so undifferentiated that there is no identity again, right? So that is the reason why they need to buy bullet 2.5 lakhs ka bike, or like paint their houses like crazy to get that identity, right? Now this is one of the things, right? They get their identity through this business, and that is life changing for some people as well.
I can't agree more here. In fact, I can completely visualize this particular point, especially on even the value addition where you provide on the sourcing bit, where I think where people pick their vehicle and go to multiple store. Once they go to the town, they travel 10-15 kilometers, and then they pick from wholesalers, haggle and whatnot. I think that's a very very interesting point. So, I think before we move on to more questions. I saw Kailash sir has some more questions, and Harsh sir also will want to have more questions. May I request everyone to step onto the video camera. We'll probably take a quick photo because we normally keep missing out on this. Uh, Shrikar, Ashok sir, and Murgvel, Lax. Yeah, you guys can step in onto the video mode for a minute. We'll take a quick photograph and continue with our conversation.
I have posted one picture on the chapters council already.
Oh, lovely. Great. So, wow, Shrikar is actually heading to a supermarket there. Uh,
Right. Vignesh, can I just 30 seconds?
yeah. Murugvel, are you also at it? Okay. Yes, sir. We are good.
Yeah. So Neeraj, well done and very heartening, and that too, kind of your third venture. That's the spirit. I came a little late, so monetization must be kind of commissions on both ways, right?
Yeah.
But for a 8 to 10 lakhs, I mean, what's the kind of return you are able to assure?
Neeraj, can you please share your number, mobile number, please, or email?
Sure. One second. I have put out my number and my email ID. Cool. Yeah. So, I think the question was, if is investing like an 8 to 10 lakhs of money, we gave them, right? Again, we went through the whole cycle of, how do these people view their return on investment, right? So, the way people calculate return on investment is when compared to the market interest rate. So they say, everything is half rupee interest, 1 rupee interest. Everyone, how do they evaluate the opportunity cost? It's like, say, let's say I'm putting 10 lakh rupees. What could I get in the market, right? If I give it in the market, I would get 1.5 rupee a month, which is 1 to 1.5% a month, which comes to about 12 to 15% of interest, right? So that is how they look at anything above that is a great investment, right? Now that's how they evaluate, So what we did very simply is for the initial stores, we said, yeah, you bring your store, I will give you that interest straight away first. On a monthly basis, you put 10 lakhs, I'll give you 12% interest on it without any questions asked, irrespective of what business is, right? Now you take this money. Now, next thing is I give them a margin on their sale volume, right? So, that varies between like 6 to 7% of the sale which they have done. And this is after taking out the discounts and everything, which are, passed on to the end customer, right? So, some of the well-performing stores, their income, their margin or the money which they have made is somewhere around 80 to 90,000 rupees a month. Out of that, their expenses are somewhere between 30,000 rupees, 20 to 30,000 rupees. Some of them, they have their own store. They don't have, employees. They are two brothers operating. They keep everything, right? So, but many of these people, like at least 4 of our stores, take home more than 50,000 rupees a month after their expenses, Now, that is a fair return on investment on this. And this is again an investment which is not like consumed, right? It is there in the system, right? About 6 lakhs of money is there in stock, right? And then about 4 lakhs is in furniture. And even after 2 years, if you want to go back, none of this depreciates. The furniture depreciates very less, right? It depreciates by 10% or 15% over 2 years. So if you invested 10 lakhs and you have earned some money on a monthly basis, and when you are getting out, I'll give you almost all of that money if you want to exit from the store, right? So, the way these people can think about it is, I invest. It's almost like a retail as a service, right? I am giving all the retail infrastructure for them, and they can use and operate. And with that, they get the returns, right? Again, the worst case for them is the normal return on investment outside. The best case is, I don't know, it could be somewhere around 5 rupees interest per month, which is almost like 70-80 percent per annum kind of return on investment on that. And again, you can also take back the investment when you go out, right? So that is the kind of ROI some of the people are making. But it is not their money which is important, but their time and energy and their management for which they are making the money. It's not an investment where someone can say, I'll give you 2 crores and, operate 10 stores on my behalf, right? That's not what it is. It is about that person who is, bringing their network, their energy, their enthusiasm to run the business.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very well, I would say researched and implemented, and all the best to you. And thanks, Vignesh, for, putting it up. And one suggestion, Vignesh, and that goes to Kailash also, these recordings we should share with the entrepreneurship clubs in the campuses. For whatever it is worth, the links can be shared, and then the students on campus, they can get inspired by many of these stories. What do you say, Neeraj? Is that okay?
I think that should be fine. Not a problem. I'm not sure if that would be helpful for someone to view this out of context, but if that makes sense, why not?
Yeah, okay, Harsh, I think it's a very good suggestion, and yes, we will do it from our side, as well as I've told all people like who are presenting, they have social media presence and they can always share their stories with tagging to BITSAA International and BITSAA Pilani. So it will help in social media, but yes, formally we can do it to the BITSAA Incubation Center and the BITSAA Spark system as well.
That's right. So because those are specific groups, and I think it'll, we are not looking at large numbers of following, but if the Spark goes into 2 minds per campus, I think that's a great achievement, right?
Yeah.
So once again, thank you very much.
Neeraj, one more point is, while after this session, we will be posting it in all our groups. You give a write-up of your product also, because that's sure. 2 to 3 lines is just an introduction thing. We would like to know your like how you explained this model. This is very good. I had captured few screenshots of your thing, so which will really boost them. So this lecture, even if they are not here, they can come back to you with what are your exact models happen, or they will refer to some other people, which will really boost you. It may not help me, sure. But definitely I will help you to my couple of friends now. They are asking for certain setting up of food stores in certain locations. So definitely it will help them, and I will say these are all the type of investments you can contact Neeraj types. Okay, so this one you could help me us after this session.
Sure.
Also. Okay,
Sure,
fine,
sure,
fine,
sure. I
Neeraj.
can do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, or whether we good to close the session?
Neeraj, I had one question, Srikar here.
Yes,
Hi,
Neeraj.
Shikhar. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so have you thought about considering loyalty cards or any benefits for people who kind of visit the store more often than, let's say, others?
We have a loyalty program running actually, So how it is structured is, every time you purchase, you get a certain set of points as a percentage of the purchase. And then whenever you come the next time, you can redeem them, right? Again, we need to make it a tiered one, right? No, if you hit 10,000 rupees a month, you will start getting 2x points, right? Something like the credit cards points, which are, built out. But, this has definitely made a difference, right? People come and, again, how we know people care about it is, there are sometimes when the loyalty programs software didn't work for a few days, right? People made a huge cry saying that, we are trying to use this. How can we not redeem our points? So that means they care about it, right? So that's how we know. And, loyalty programs are valuable, and it is, good. It is important to run, and we have been running it. I think we'll make it bigger with better infrastructure, right? So the ideas of giving out cards and things like that is great. But I think we were unable to do it because of lack of bandwidth, I would say.
Neeraj, you are introducing any card kind of thing for this loyalty, or are doing loyalty in the app itself?
No. It is more like you come and give me your phone number. I'll add points to that, and whenever you want to redeem it, you need to give me an OTP, and you can get the redemption. Today, there is no need for a card to actually do it.
Okay. You can plan out, because I could see some of supermarkets here in Chennai. I could find out they are offering a card which is some royalty or gold, like that. They are changing the membership. For example, if their buyout is more than 1,000 rupees per month, they become actually from silver to gold, from gold to diamond membership. Like that, it is shifting them, and they are getting their different discounts structures accordingly. But good, because of this pandemic, this is a well digital. But since you are targeting tier 2 and tier 3, people will be very happy to see the card, and they will be remember also. Instead of some coupons, you just, this is my thought. Just you have a idea over this one, how to make it a
No. It's definitely a very strong idea. I think it did not. We couldn't do it just because lack of scale, and also the bandwidth and the investment required to make a card, right? So I think that is the kind of thing. You also need to have the digital infrastructure to be able to swipe, authenticate that card, and give them the point, right? But it is definitely a valuable point to look at. No doubt about it.
Great.
So Neeraj, what is the next plan? So now that you've covered most of Kadapa, so what is the game plan next? So generally speaking, I've seen companies going, looking at multiple locations in the same time. And so what is it? How is it you're looking to scale up? Are you also looking to get some funding to get going? So what is your plan of action now?
So we have already got some funding, right? So there are some of the noted angel investors from the ecosystem who are backing us, and there's also a small VC fund which has invested in our company. And so I think funds wise, it's okay. It's good. But the coming to the question of what's the next plan, right? I think the target for us for this next year is to be somewhere around 70 to 80 stores mark by end of this year. So the focus is to grow in every place which can have a population or a catchment area of 15 to 20,000 people. So it can be a small village or a group of villages where we are ready to set up shops. And the small towns. We're targeting about 60 to 70 stores in a 80 to 100-kilometer radius from where we are. After the center of the town, we are going to a lot of places in and around the town. So, our last three stores have been within about 40 to 50 kilometers from the town of Kadapa. And now we are going up to about 80 kilometers, and that will make a huge circle, right? In this whole circle, we are providing services, and we have seen a lot of interest coming from smaller towns, right? The smaller towns are finding this whole concept a lot more valuable. Imagine some of these villages where they have to go 15 kilometers to buy their groceries. Right now, they're saying that in their mandal headquarters or in their village, in the bigger village among their cluster, we set up a store where there is no ATM and there is no petrol pump, but they have a supermarket which self-service kind of experience, and that is just creating access for so much consumption, right? People don't have access to get that kind of products. Now they are getting it. That has changed huge. Like that has made huge changes to how and why the customer buys. There is a lot of difference in the buying patterns in the small towns, but we are focusing on them as well.
Very, very interesting, man. Very interesting. So, with regard to market intelligence, product intelligence, customer intelligence, cultural intelligence, so how do you guys go about doing it? Because generally, these items, if you notice, at a regional level, there are a lot of dynamism which comes into play. Because especially every region has a specificity, and which is where these grocery owners score, right? Where there is one or two stores in that area which understands the customer very effectively and they get the best out of it. So how do you ensure, because one is the tech element, but beyond the tech element, there is the human element and also this local awareness, right? So how do you ensure that you do not lose out on this element? Because generally speaking, when you go the tech way, or probably when you go a little off the typical traditional way, there is a possibility and likelihood that you may miss out on these elements. So how do you ensure that you stay as much grounded and you have your ears very close to the ground as well?
So far, I think the strength of our business model was built because we all relocated to Kadapa to build this business, and that has helped us, right? Because we are there, we are every day talking to the retailers, we are every day talking to the customers. So we have our ears to the ground, and that's how it is helping us today. But as we scale, we need to bring that element of how do you marry the best of human intelligence and systems, right? You cannot rely on humans, you cannot rely completely on systems. How do you bring the best, right? That humans guiding systems to make decisions, or systems guiding humans, or vice versa, right? That's kind of what we are targeting. That if the retailer thinks that there are some products which need to be stocked, he can suggest it to the system, that saying that we need to keep these and these products, he can make a request, right? And then the algorithms can figure out, put some products, learn from the data, and then again go. It can be a cycle where they, go back and forth and learn, right? So humans and the systems will learn together, and that's how we'll make better decisions.
Nice, man. That's very interesting because especially since when you said about that automation process, then people tend to become very lethargical, right? They take things for granted and then they go.
Definitely. It can't be robotic as well, right? They also need to use their mind. They need to use their enthusiasm somewhere. So we let them make some decisions, but create the framework in a way that they have some space to play, but not in a manner that it can spoil the experience. Balance it out together.
Nice, very interesting, very interesting.
Yeah. No, thanks. Very interesting questions from you and everyone else also, right? It made me look at my research and share, right? So that's always a very fun conversation to have. When you have discovered something and someone is asking exactly that, and that the joy of sharing that is also great.
Do we have any more questions? Ashok sir and Murugvel, any more questions for Neeraj?
Neeraj, can you please share your email ID, please?
Sure. I have put it on the chat. I can send you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have sent it to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Thanks a lot for taking time and listening to me. If you have anything else, just ping me, call me, or whatever it is. I'm happy to talk and engage further.
Thanks a lot, Neeraj, for joining us. I think it's been a lovely session so far. We will definitely see in what extent we can support you, because I know BITS as a community has always been very inviting, inspiring, and helping and collaborative. So I'm sure you will definitely get to get more connects and support from the community going forward as well. So thanks once again for
no doubt about
joining
that.
us.
Yeah.
I will invite Murugvel to share the word of thanks.
Thank you, Vignesh. Once again, great opportunity to thank Neeraj for sharing his greatest experience in his entrepreneurial journey of SuperK. We wish SuperK we should find more SuperK stores, not only in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, entire across India, by appointing lot of distributors this way. I had few quiet plans also, which I will talk to Neeraj offline, how to setting up of this type of stores in non-coverage area where there is a lack of complete Kirana type of things. We will chart out a plan. Definitely, I think it will get a great shape for you. Once again, thanks BITSAA Chennai for organizing this great input from Neeraj. Thanks everyone for attending today, and makes this session a great interactive and a knowledge sharing. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Speaker. Thanks, Vignesh. Thanks,
Thank
Murugvel.
you.
Thanks, Ashok.
Thank you.
Good luck, Neeraj.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shaker.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.